guys, so this video is going to be like kind of rambling, but I just wanted to share my thoughts on how being a parent, especially in recovery, sometimes is really hard. So I thought today I'd talk a little bit about how hard it is to be a parent, especially a parent who is divorced. Look, being a parent's never easy. My kids, as you guys know, I have two of them, and I've been really lucky that they were too young when I was using to really have memories of me sick like that, and I'm grateful for that. And they're very involved in my recovery, and you know, they really have a deep understanding of addiction, probably more than most kids their age do. But that doesn't change the fact that like just being a parent in general is not easy. We're at the end of the summer, and you know, I try really, really hard. I don't make a ton of money. I work really, really hard. You guys know, I do like social media for other people. One of my big clients is a nonprofit, and I help with a big event they're putting on. Like, I do a lot of different side work and stuff, and on top of what I do on YouTube. And this is like my passion, like reaching out to people about addiction and recovery and being supportive and showing people that there's hope in recovery. Like, that's my passion. Like, that's one of the reasons like I hope to like grow my Patreon. It's not because I offer all sorts of fun stuff on my Patreon. It's just the more I can make, realistically, the more I can make money from just doing this, like the more time I can spend to this. And this is really where my heart is, because I remember what it was like using. And so like, look, early recovery, being a parent was really, really hard, right? Like, for different reasons. I think being a parent's hard all the time. It's just different reasons, right? So like in early recovery, being a parent was hard because I didn't realize like all the feelings that I was numb to. There was so much that I didn't recognize, right? Like, I didn't realize like the love that I had for my kids was dampened because of all the way that the drugs had impacted my system, right? Like, and so once they was clear of drugs, the love I had for my kids was like so overwhelming, and it was almost hard to manage at first because it had hit me all of a sudden. It's like that feeling any parent, if anybody who's had a kid knows, when you first see your baby in your arms and that overwhelming sense of like love that comes, right? And I had that again when I first got clean. And you know, I see a lot of people who are in early recovery who had lost their kids. Luckily, that was never me, but I see a lot of people in early recovery who lost their kids, and you know, immediately they want them back. They're like, I've been clean for 30 days, 60 days, I want my kids back. And you know, those of us who have been in recovery will tell you that like there's no rush. As much as you want them in your life, like recovery is hard and being a parent is hard. And putting those two things together, sometimes you're just not ready for it. So yeah, look, being a parent, as I said, is never easy. And the reason I want to talk about this is ever since I left my ex-husband and I've been a single parent, and for a while I was the only parent. He wasn't really all that involved. He's been a lot more involved as of recent. And, you know, there's good and bad points about being a single parent. But I can say that, like, one of the hardest things I struggle with is, like, spoiling my kids. Like, as you guys know, as I've said, I'm not, like, you know, raking in the dough. So I need to spend, like, pretty much all the money I make on just survival needs, right? You know, groceries, school stuff. And, like, I'm really lucky. I have family both on my side and on my ex-husband's side that really, really help. My daughter's actually out school shopping with my ex-in-laws right now. So, you know, I really get a lot of help, but I still live at home with my parents, and I want to provide a home for my kids. So I'm working really hard towards that, but I feel like I'm always guilty, and I think a lot of parents feel this, like the guilt that I'm not doing enough. And, you know, my role as a mother did change when I became a single parent, and I didn't realize that it was going to. And I think I think I've seen it a lot in other people and didn't realize like how that dynamic changes. But when you're the only parent, you don't have that like backup. You don't have that other person to back you up, right? So it's a lot harder. And, you know, as my kids are getting older now, you know, I have to recognize the fact that, I don't know, okay, so really when it comes down to like what's the root of the issue, right? So my daughter tells me yesterday that she doesn't want to live with me anymore. Now, she got over it and she changed her mind by this morning, right? But like, that was the first time anything like that's ever been said, and that's heartbreaking, you know? Like, it was hard to hear, because here I am doing absolutely everything I can to make my kids happy, to give them a good life, and to feel like my child doesn't think I'm doing enough, right? Now, look, I'll tell you this, when I was my daughter's age, like, I didn't think anything my parents did was right, and, you know, that's part of the age, and I accept it, and I didn't get upset with her, and she was all worried. I was like, no, I'm not mad. Like, why am I gonna be mad? I'm just, but, and look, I'm glad as of this morning, like, she's moved on and feels differently, right? But the fact is that, like, that's just one of many things that's gonna come up as a parent, and I'm lucky, as I said, since my kids don't remember me in active addiction because they were so young. But I think about other parents who have kids whose kids do remember the active addiction, and the level of guilt that comes along with that. You know, we feel like we failed our kids in some way. I mean, I feel that even in times when I know I haven't done anything wrong. We want our kids to have a good life. And I worry too, I think, a lot, because I see a lot of myself in my daughter, and I don't want her to make the same mistakes that I did. And, you know, coming to the realization that there's not anything I can do about that. Like, I can't change her path, right? Like, I can just make sure that she has as much information as possible so that she doesn't make the same mistakes, and be there for her if she does, you know? I was just thinking that, like, all parents must struggle with these same realizations, right? And I don't know, maybe I'm just rambling and not making sense, but I don't know, do any of you ever feel like you're failing as a parent? Like, even though you know you're doing everything you can, like, does anybody else feel that way? It's like hard to put into words, because I don't, you know, it's also on the internet, so, you know, I try not to go crazy with details on things, but I don't know. The one thing I can say is that being in recovery has taught me how to work through these feelings. It's taught me how to manage these thoughts. It's taught me how to reach out for help and ask other people about things. So, I don't know, I'm grateful I'm in recovery today. I'm grateful that I am in a right state of mind to care for my kids, and that I know that I'm giving them everything they need, because if I was still using, that wouldn't be the case, no matter what I may have thought. So, I don't know, just thought I'd share those feelings with you. If you want to help support the channel and support me, you can join my Patreon. We do a live trivia every Wednesday if you want to join for that. And yeah, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name is the same as it is here, so it's super easy to find. And yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on being a parent in recovery. So thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.